First this morning, in the meantime, a career criminal and his girlfriend remain locked up this early hour after facing a judge. Here's the very latest. Andrew Romero faces charges of gunning down Officer Greg Nigel Benner during a traffic stop last month. Inside the courtroom, Officer Benner's wife and a handful of fellow police officers. Prosecutors made it clear they do intend to pursue a life sentence without the chance of parole.
This is our focus. It's the most important case in our office right now. We're treating it like as such, and we want to move this case as soon as possible.
Prosecutors are also seeking life without parole for Tabitha Littles, his alleged accomplice. A judge yesterday kept Littles' bond at $1 million cash and Romero's at $5 million. Federal prosecutors are also pursuing Romero under laws that let them target the worst of the worst criminals.
So happening today, the man accused of gunning down another man he says to save his children is expected to be sentenced. 22-year-old Darren Davis is accused of killing Ramon Lueras after a drug deal gone wrong. He says it was to protect his children because Lueras and a third man involved threatened to slit his kids' throats. Deputies say Davis admitted to killing Lueras, shooting his weapon 8 times. His sentence is handed down to you. We will let you know. After several hours holed up in a house near 12th and Iron yesterday, 2 brothers finally surrendered to police. It started when police tried to arrest them on armed robbery warrants. SWAT teams were called in, and after about 2 hours, the brothers did surrender. Police have not said which armed robberies they're accused of.
Meantime, developing right now, we're learning more about the prison employee who helped 2 convicted murderers escape from a New York prison. All while authorities continue to keep an eye on both borders in the U.S. for these folks. The search is underway. While the trail may have gone cold, Joyce Mitchell appeared in court yesterday. Mitchell in the past has had relationships with both of those men. According to sources, those men had plans to kill Mitchell's husband, who hasn't had contact with his wife since she was arrested.
My understanding that he has not visited her since she's been taken into custody, and further that they have not had any telephone communication.
Police in New York are installing motion sensors and surveillance cameras in the woods near the prison.
And new this morning, Governor Susana Martinez is talking about the presidential race. This after Jeb Bush hired one of her former top aides as his campaign manager. The governor spoke yesterday, calling his pick, quote, the right move. Bush, who launched a White House bid Monday, recently named Danny Diaz as his campaign manager. So far, the nation's only Latina governor has not yet made a move on an endorsement of any of the GOP hopefuls seeking presidential nomination. Martinez is confident, though, Diaz will do a very good job for Bush, wishing him well.
5:04 this morning, there's a new undersheriff in Bernalillo County. Greg Reese was sworn in yesterday morning by a district court judge. Reese has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He started his career with BCSO in 1993 and was promoted to chief deputy in 2013.
I appreciate the Sheriff Gonzalez for having the confidence and for me to get this job done. Obviously, we are in different times of policing, and again, I appreciate his confidence in me and getting his vision done.
Reese replaces Larry Allen, who resigned as undersheriff after just a few months on the job. The department is not saying why.
Here's some great news for you. 2 Cibola high school grads are waking up with honors this morning after being recognized at last night's city council meeting.
It'll be something cool to tell my roommates to intimidate them, maybe.
Yeah, it's always going to be a cool thing to look back on and just say, like, I have a day named after me.
Yeah, yesterday was declared Dylan Fife and Daniel Wilson Day in Albuquerque. The best friends volunteer in the community and were in the top of their class. Wilson walked 36 miles from the volcanoes to Sandia Peak a week after losing his mom to colon cancer back in 2014. Now, Fife was a loyal friend and helped Cibola win the state tennis championship this year.
Very good for them. Thousands of reusable grocery bags have new homes in Santa Fe after the city gave away thousands over the weekend. Starting later this month, shoppers will be charged 10 cents for each paper bag. City Council approved the fee after a ban on plastic grocery bags was not enough to motivate people to bring reusable totes. The money will support environmental educational efforts.
We turn now to a live look on Washington, D.C. Happening today, White House fence jumper Omar Gonzalez is scheduled to be sentenced at 10 o'clock this morning. Authorities say Gonzalez was wielding a knife when he made it all the way into the East Room of the White House last September. Under a plea deal with prosecutors, he has already pleaded guilty to 2 federal counts in U.S. District Court. The U.S. Attorney's Office is recommending a nearly 2-year sentence for this.
A 42-year-old man is in jail in Paraguay this morning after police say he raped his 10-year-old stepdaughter and got her pregnant. The girl's mother is already in prison, charged with failing to protect her. It's a story that's caught the attention of Amnesty International and the Inter-American Human Rights Commission. Both human rights groups argue the girl should receive an abortion, despite Paraguay's law banning abortions unless the mother's life is in danger. The country's health minister says the girl is being taken care of at a shelter where she is getting appropriate care.
We turn now to this. Surveillance video shows thieves breaking into a cell phone store right before setting the whole thing on fire. Take a look at your video here. You can see one of the thieves jumping from the ceiling there, then trying to climb back up. That's when another man comes down, starts taking old cell phones, stashing them in a bag there. He passes that bag to someone waiting inside the ceiling there. Then you can see them douse the store with gasoline, light the place on fire. The owner estimates there's about $10,000 worth of damages in total. He's offering a $500 reward to catch the culprits, and hopefully the video, because you have a clear shot of their faces right there, leads to some arrests.
That's the thing. They didn't even attempt to hide anything there with their faces. You can see them.
You know, and there's reports that initially the guy jumped down. All right, thanks, Kristen. So the chance of rain, it should be a welcoming sight, right? But take a look at the video here. It has some residents on edge this morning here in Albuquerque. They say the city's put a Band-Aid on a very big problem. This is what one storm last month did to a northeast Albuquerque neighborhood just west of San Mateo. In mere minutes, water rushed into yards. One family says they've invested thousands of dollars to fix the damages and to try and prepare for more rain. The city's storm drains quickly clog, streets become flooded there. City officials say they need to make water lines underground bigger. But it's $1 million project that could take another 3 years to complete.
It's like pins and needles every time it rains. The wind is blowing and the sky's getting gray right now, and my stomach is starting to hurt just thinking about it. Every time it rains.
The city says the GO bonds for the project will be voted on come October.
Meantime, happening today, the man accused of killing a family of 3 with a pickaxe 4 years ago is expected to appear in court. Investigators say Nicholas Ortiz killed Lloyd Ortiz, Dixie Ortiz, and their son Stephen in their El Rancho home in 2011. He was just 16 years old, and they suspect the now 20-year-old committed those murders to get drugs and cash. He was arrested in February. Ortiz is not related to the family. Today, his attorney is expected to argue for bail. A judge denied him that bail in April, saying he was high risk. Also happening in just hours, the Albuquerque woman accused of driving drunk, hitting a pedestrian with her car, and then fleeing from the scene is expected to face a judge this afternoon. Police say a Good Samaritan helped them track Jessica Lucero down after she drove away from the scene on Saturday. That person took her license plate number down. Police say the victim is still fighting for his life today. A disabled veteran says there is a big problem with the upcoming July 4th celebration put on by the city.
Yeah, he says the city makes it easy for some people to attend, but impossible for others. Sun vans and fixed route buses do not run on the 4th of July. Instead, city bus drivers shuttle thousands of people who leave their car in a designated lot and give them a ride to Balloon Fiesta Park. By doing that, an Albuquerque man says the city is forgetting about people with disabilities who cannot get to those shuttle stops in the first place.
For the city to say we don't provide any services, that's not right. They do provide services to a select group of people. And I, unfortunately, along with all Sun Van riders, are not in that chosen bunch.
So ABQ Ride says if it serves Sun Van users, it would also have to serve bus riders on its regular routes because it cannot leave anyone out. And it says that's not possible. As it is, the city says it takes almost all of its drivers and buses to smoothly run the Freedom Forts Park and Ride to alleviate parking and traffic issues at Balloon Fiesta Park that day.
Now, some people view the fireworks with drones, and News 13 questioned the city about whether drones would be allowed at the Freedom 4th celebration this year. The city says right now they don't have plans to ban the drones from the celebration, but a recent drone accident at Summerfest has a lot of you talking on KRQE.com and on the News 13 Facebook page. The Albuquerque Fire Department says the drone fell from the sky on Saturday and hit someone. AFD says the person was not seriously hurt. If you'd like to see the whole story or get in on the conversation, you can download the KRQE News app.
Now to this happening today, the Bernalillo County Commission is expected to review the controversial Santolina master plan this evening. If Bernalillo County approves the development, it would run along I-40 from Atrisco Heritage to MDC. Developers say it would create 38,000 homes and 75,000 jobs. opponents say there is just not enough water to support it. So here are some facts you need to know if you do plan on attending. It's being held at the Civic Plaza at 1 o'clock this afternoon. They're also asking for the public's input at today's meeting. For more on the plan and the meeting, log on to our KRQE News app.
New on this Tuesday morning, a decision from the City Council on the hot button issue. City Councilor Isaac Benton pushed to get the city involved in the Santolina project, saying that Albuquerque should have input and coordinate on the county's consideration of the Santolina master plan. The resolution, though, was voted down late last night on a vote of 4-3.
And the Albuquerque City Council has more questions before approving a raise for the attorney negotiating police reforms with the DOJ. The mayor wants to raise the pay for Scott Greenwood to $500,000. News 13 first exposed that Greenwood spent part of his pay on fancy hotels and booze. Last night, councilors had a lot of questions about Greenwood and his spending. They also want to ask him about his attendance at a taser convention. That's the company that outfitted APD with their lapel cams.
An Albuquerque company continues its success now. Lavu announced yesterday it has raised $15 million in capital to help with sales and marketing. Lavu, which started here in 2010, is a point-of-sale system used in restaurants around the world. Governor Susana Martinez is hoping to make New Mexico a place for booming business. She has signed a jobs package aimed at drawing in businesses to the land of enchantment. Martinez says it will help smaller businesses get off the ground, expand trade along the state's southern border, and add jobs in the tech sector. It also provides tax benefits to companies choosing to headquarter here.
And new this morning, a New Mexico engineer is working fast to save your green chili. According to fronterasdesk.org, the state's chili production is down 40% from a decade ago because of drought. Farmers are using water from aquifers, but the salt in the water damages roots and weakens crops. We told you about this last week. Recently, though, a local engineer started experimenting with pulling river water from a reservoir north of Array. The water went to farmers in the Hatch Valley first. This is the first year they've done this special release, so it's not yet been determined if this will be what farmers need to keep chili crops thriving.
Turning to Washington, D.C. now, the man accused of torturing a family for hours before killing them is expected to appear in court. Darren Wint is the main suspect in what's come to be known as the D.C. Mansion murders. He's accused of killing Savas Savopoulos, his wife Amy, their 10-year-old son Philip, and their housekeeper. Investigators linked him to the crime after matching his DNA found on an old pizza crust in the house. Today, Wint is expected to replace his public defender with a private attorney. On to some developing news in Washington state today. All eyes are on civil rights advocate Rachel Dozial this morning. Yeah,
this comes after her resignation yesterday as president of Spokane, Washington's chapter of the NAACP president. The development came after it was revealed that she portrayed herself as a biracial woman for years now, when in fact she is really white, and even filed a discrimination lawsuit against Howard University back in 2002. Officials in Spokane are now investigating whether she lied about her ethnicity when she landed an appointment to the city's police oversight board.
At least one of these men is facing charges after a fight broke out at a Subway shop in Maryland. Investigators say the men started throwing punches after a heated argument in the store, and you can see one of them there push the other and throw him through the front store window. That man was quickly arrested by a passing police officer. He has been charged with disorderly conduct, destruction of property, and disturbing the peace. Another man took off right after the fight. Police have not been able to find him. They say that he also could face charges in all of this.
And